4 years after burying his wife and 2 young children, Caleb Thornton was still riding fence lines that didn't need checking, fixing wire that wasn't broken, anything to keep moving through another silent winter day. Then came the scream. High, raw, desperate. It sliced through the howling wind and grabbed something inside him he thought had died long ago. He spurred his old mare Bess toward the sound, through knee-deep snow, toward the crumbling garret barn on the eastern ridge. What he found inside stopped him cold. 6 children. Huddled together like abandoned pups, wrapped in rags too thin for the cold, lips blue, eyes hollow. The oldest, a girl maybe 7 or 8, stood in front of the others, gripping a rusted kitchen knife in both trembling hands. "Stay back," she said, voice cracking. "I'll cut you. I swear I will." Behind her, 5 more small faces, a tall thin boy of 9, 2 little girls clinging together, a coughing boy maybe 6, and the tiniest, a toddler with enormous brown eyes. But it was the girl with the knife who shattered Caleb completely. Brown eyes flecked with gold, pointed chin, dark hair falling across her forehead. His daughter Charlotte's face staring back from a stranger's body. He lowered his rifle slowly, kneeled in the snow, unbuttoned his sheepskin coat, held it out to her. "We're freezing, girl. Take it." She didn't move. "How do we know this ain't a trick?" "You don't," Caleb said quietly. "Oh, but your choice right now is trust me or freeze to death." The toddler started to cry, a thin, wounded sound. Something in the girl's face cracked. Her name was Rosie. The tall boy was Sam. The quiet blonde girl, Hannah. The coughing boy, Toby. The curly-haired one, Grace. And the smallest, Jessie. They had run from Silas Hargrove's gold camp 3 days north, a place where children were bought, stolen, or taken as payment for debts, forced into narrow mine tunnels grown men couldn't fit in. 12 hours a day, barely enough food. And when they got sick or too big or tried to run, they disappeared. Rosie's mama had been shot in front of her for refusing to sell her daughter. Sam had killed a man with a rock to save Hannah from something unspeakable. Toby's lungs were already scarred from mine dust. They had walked 3 days in rags through a blizzard to escape. Caleb looked at their faces, at Rosie who looked so much like his lost Charlotte, and something locked inside him for 4 years finally broke open. He took them home. Pa's soft crackle of a fire at the ranch house hit them like warmth they'd forgotten existed. Food, blankets, a real roof. Grace sobbed with relief. Toby collapsed into a chair, still coughing. Hannah stood frozen in the doorway, tears silent. Sam kept watch near the door. Rosie touched everything, the table, the stove, the curtains, like she needed to prove they were real. That night, Caleb cleaned their wounded feet, bandaged them properly, fed them until their small bellies were full, put them to bed in rooms that hadn't been opened in years. And Rosie, fierce guarded Rosie, stood in the doorway of the master bedroom and asked, "I look like her, don't I? Your daughter?" Caleb's throat closed. "Yeah, you do. Is that why you helped us?" "It's why I stopped," he admitted, "but it ain't why I brought you here. I brought you here because what's happening to you is wrong, and I can't ride past wrong and pretend I didn't see it." She stepped forward then, wrapped her thin arms around his neck. Caleb froze. He hadn't held a child since Charlotte. Then he hugged her back, carefully, like she might break. "You're safe now," he whispered. "I promise. I don't make promises you can't keep. This one I can." Music swelled slightly hopeful undertone, but Hargrove was already coming. 3 days later, 10 riders appeared at dusk. Hargrove himself at the head, cold smile, black coat, papers in hand. "Those children belong to me, Thornton. Legal contracts." Caleb stood on the porch, rifle ready. Go to hell. Gunfire erupted, bullets splintered wood. Smoke filled the air. Caleb and the deputies fought back, dropped 4 men. Then a scream from inside the house. One of Hargrove's men had slipped in through a back window, had Grace by the arm, dragging her toward the broken glass. Caleb burst inside, fired once. The man fell. Grace scrambled away. Outside, more riders appeared from the south. Marshal Sterling and his posse, 20 strong. Hargrove pulled back. "This isn't over," he shouted as he retreated. But the marshal had arrived just in time. Toby was burning with pneumonia. The doctor fought for him through long nights. Caleb sat by his cot, wiping sweat from the boy's forehead, talking to him even when he couldn't answer. "You got to fight, son. These other kids need you." On the 3rd morning, Toby's eyes fluttered open. "We made it, Mr. Caleb. Oh, we made it. You're safe." Toby's thin fingers tightened. "Are you going to be our papa now?" Caleb's voice broke. "If you'll have me, yes." Pa's gentle, emotional music, the real battle came in a Buffalo courtroom. 6 children testified. Rosie told how Hargrove shot her mother for refusing to sell her. Sam told how he killed a man with a rock to save Hannah. Toby spoke of the dust that scarred his lungs. Grace spoke of her mother's death. Hannah whispered her story. Even Deputy Jonas Webb, Hargrove's own nephew, brought forged documents and testified to dozens of children buried in secret graves. The judge's gavel fell. A petition denied arrest Mr. Hargrove. Hargrove was led away in chains, his empire crumbling. Weeks later, custody papers were signed. Rosalie, Samuel, Hannah, Tobias, Grace, Jesse, legally Caleb Thornton's children. Rosie was the first to say it. "Oh, Papa, can you hand me the salty?" She froze, face red. Caleb knelt down. "I am if you want me to be." She threw her arms around him. Sam took longer, but one night in the barn loft he finally broke. "I want to call you Pa. Is that okay?" "That's perfect, son." Hannah left drawings, quiet, beautiful pictures of their family. Toby recovered slowly, dreaming of becoming a veterinarian. Grace called him a daddy from the first day. And Jesse, one spring morning on the porch, looked up and whispered, "A papa." 1 year later, Caleb walked up the hill to the 3 graves behind the house, snow falling gently. He spoke to Ellie, Benjamin, and Charlotte. "I brought some new folks home, 6 of them. I hope you don't mind. I hope you understand my heart got bigger. Had to hold all this." Behind him, Sam appeared with a lantern. "They're proud of you, Pa, and I think they'd love us too." They walked back together, through the windows, Rosie reading by the fire, Grace and Hannah laughing, Toby and Jesse curled up on the couch. The house was full of voices, small hands reaching, laughter, stories, life. A year ago, Caleb had wanted to die. Now he wanted to live, for every sunrise, every scraped knee, every bedtime story. Some stories end in tragedy, some in triumph. This one ended with something better. It ended with family. And that was enough. That was everything.